Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuing support. State of Origin is here and it's larger than ever before. We have under 19 male and female State of Origins to look forward to this evening. Even though I think only one of them is being televised, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And then you've got the Women's State of Origin that's taking place in Canberra, and I'll be there. Cannot wait to see what happens. And then you've got game two over at Optus Stadium in Western Australia for game two of the State of Origin series. And the first thing I want to highlight is not all these names I am going to be familiar with, obviously so, especially in the under 19s, of course. But look, we're going to give it a red hot crack, and I think everyone deserves to be spotlighted in some way, shape, or form, that's for sure. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to pop it onto the State of Origin under 19s list. And here we are now. So this is the female State of Origin team lineups, and we've got at fullback for New South Wales, Jada Taylor. The wingers are Petasia Leo and Casey Tohi Hiku. The centre pairing is Andy Robinson and Maya Middleton, and the halves pairing is Losana Lutu and Taylor Montgomery. The forward pack for New South Wales is Mona Lisa Soliola. I'm not too sure if she has a connection to Soliola from the Raiders, but I'm not even going to go there. Ruben Cherrington is the hooker. The number 10 is Ruby Jean Kennard, and the back row for New South Wales is Leilani Wilson, Chantel Tugaga, and Aisha Duckett. And the interchange reads Anika Wilson, Tiana Corey, Talisha Maeva, and Jules Kirkpatrick. And the 18th lady for New South Wales under 19 squad is Rosemary Beckett. Shifting over to the Queensland side now, and at fullback is Shante Kiria Ratu, and the wingers for Queensland is Jataya Faifua and Helen Uitiwalagi. And then the centre pairing is Jasmine Peters and Eminata Paki. And those two names should definitely stick out to you. Paki was a part of the Central Queensland Capras that went down in the grand final of the BMD Premiership just a month or so ago now. And Jasmine Peters, she made her NRLW debut for the Gold Coast Titans this season, helped then get to a maiden finals appearance. And she was also a part of, Jasmine Peters, of the North Queensland Gold Stars Premiership victory over the Capras about a month ago or so now. So Jasmine Peters is definitely one that I will be keeping an eye on if this game is televised. If not, I'll just have to check out the stats. And speaking of North Queensland Gold Stars players, in jersey number 8, moving on to the forward pack now for Queensland, is April Nagatu Puna. And she's a powerhouse, and she's also a workhorse too. She was very present in that grand final. Moving to the hooking role, Lily Rose Kolk. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Kolch. And then Fiona Janke. And then the back row reads Otessa Pule, Hannah Larson, and Georgina Tuita'alili. And then the interchange, it reads Montana Mook, Lavinia Katai, Phililea Kia, and Jacinta Carter. And then jersey 18 is Ellie Williamson. Look, I'm not well versed in all the ladies that are taking the paddock this weekend. All I can say is go Jasmine Peters and go April Nagatu Puna because they're North Queensland Gold Stars. And therefore, I'm going to barrack the Queensland side and I'm going to predict that they win this game 1-12 out there at Leichhardt Oval this evening. And the game is kicking off from 5:45 this afternoon. So I'm just going to close this one down. And again, thank you all very much for tuning in and giving this a crack. And no, this is not live. This is all being pre-recorded. I just wanted to get something out there before the under 19 State of Origin women's game got kicked off. So I'm just going to share my screen once more. And here we go. Alrighty. So this is the men's. This is the men's State of Origin under 19 squad. And there are a couple of familiar names in here, which is good. And this one definitely 1000% is being televised from 7:45 this evening. So that's great to see the under-19s in action in a primetime slot on Thursday night. They'll have butterflies in their stomachs the size of eagles. So we'll start with the home team, the New South Wales squad, and in at fullback is Terrell Carlo, and then the wingers for New South Wales is Utuloa Asamoah, and then Jack Bostock. And Jack Bostock is a Redcliffe Dolphins signing that has been, I think that's been general knowledge now for 2 months, I dare tend to suggest. And this is going to be the first opportunity that we're all going to really have a go with Jack Bostock. So all the best to him, young man. And I think you might even know that there'll be more eyes watching him than what there has been in his NRL career thus far, or rugby league career so far. The centre pairing for New South Wales is Paul Alamotti and Brad Morcos. Gee whiz, they sound familiar. And the halves pairing for the New South Wales under-19 State of Origin squad is Thomas Weaver and Jonah Bezet. And Thomas Weaver, shout out to Rugby League Guru. Thomas Weaver is a gentleman that he highlighted recently on Instagram. And I do suggest that you go check out Rugby League Guru. So look, just for him mentioning Thomas Weaver, eyes are going to be on him, more eyes than usual for sure. So Thomas Weaver and Jonah Pezet are the halves pairings. And then the forward pack is Max Bradbury, Justin Matamula, and Tyler Moriarty. Tyler Moriarty being the hooker. And then moving into the back row now for the New South Wales pack is Orion Keeley, Brandon Tumeth, and then Trey Mooney. And Trey Mooney debuted, was it against the Bulldogs? Maybe it was against someone else. But Trey Mooney recently debuted for the Canberra Raiders and had a good crack at first grade. He is a player of the future, undoubtedly. He's just got the body for it already, and at such a young age, he's got a bright future, I reckon. And then coming off the bench, Jack Cole, Toby Couchman, Larry Muagatuitia, Malgutu Tutia, and Jacob Webster, and 18th man is Charlie Thompson. And then moving into the Queensland side now, and in at fullback is Isaiah Longy or Iongi. I can't tell if that's an I or an L. I know it's probably an I. So Isaiah Iongi, and then the wingers for Queensland is Jacob Mene or Jacob Mene and Xavier Chatfield Mooka. And then the centre pairings is Sosefo Fafita and Robert Toya. And I believe Sosefo Fafita is a young man coming through the Gold Coast Titans that is yet to make his first grade debut. So it's another Fafita. It's another Fafita in the NRL. So keep an eye on him for sure. And then the halves pairing is Haradine Wilson and Thomas Duffy. Thomas Duffy, the halfback for Queensland, is contracted with the North Queensland Cowboys and has come through the Young Guns development system up there. And he is an Australian schoolboy. He is one to watch tonight. And I cannot wait to see how he goes. He has a bit of a combination with Chester. I think his name's Thomas Chester, apologies, from the Cowboys system. And they've been dynamic in the lower grades. But I'm telling you, Thomas Duffy is one of, if not the biggest name to look out for tonight in this Queensland pack for sure, in the Queensland squad for sure. And then moving into looking over to the forward pack now for Queensland, Xavier Va'a and Paul Bryan are the bookends, and then Blake Moser is the hooker. And then moving into the back row, Edward Hampson, Jack Howarth, and Jack Howarth, I think he has made his first grade debut this year, correct me if I'm wrong, but he did make his presence felt in the trials, especially against the New Zealand Warriors. Jack Howarth is a monster of a young man. He plays with Melbourne Storm. I don't think he has, but he's got a bright future himself. He's got such speed for a really big young man. So can't wait to see how he goes tonight. And Luke Jack is another North Queensland Cowboy. I don't believe he is signed with the Cowboys, but he is coming through the Young Guns system. I do believe he was a Aussie schoolboy as well, coming through the grades. If not, he has been touted as a great player that's just going to rip and tear tonight. So Luke Jack and Thomas Duffy are two Cowboys representatives to keep an eye out for this evening if you are a Cowboys supporter. And moving into the interchange bench now is Jai Gray, Benjamin Tikura, Josiah Paulu, and Kuli Kefu Fine Fuiaki. And then the 18th man is Caleb Nigamanu. So again, North Queensland Cowboys. I am not a Queensland. I'm not a Queensland supporter, but I am a North Queensland Cowboys tragic, as you all know. I'm going to be barracking for the lads from Townsville who are representing the Cowboys in this State of Origin clash. So Queensland under-19s. Look, they've got to take down Trey Mooney. Trey Mooney versus Luke Jack is mouth-watering, knowing the size of Luke Jack and how many raps is on him, and seeing what Trey Mooney did in his first grade debut. That's definitely a matchup to look forward to in this game. Look, I'm going to go for Queensland, but I'm going to tip New South Wales in this game just to keep her fresh. So I'm going to go into the draw now, and we're going to talk about the main event that's happening on Friday evening. And she's a doozy, ladies and gents. So if you excuse me. So this Friday night, tomorrow night, the State of Origin, the Women's State of Origin, the New South Wales Sky Blues hosting the Maroons from down there at GIO Stadium in Canberra, or here in Canberra. I will be attending this game. I've been to a State of Origin game before, but never a female State of Origin contest. And there are superstars across the paddock in this contest. I cannot wait to see it. So we'll go through the New South Wales team list firstly. And at fullback, Dalian medalist, female player of the year, Emma Tonagato. And then in the wingers is Yasmin Clydesdale and Tiani Penatani. The center combination is deadly, Jessica Sturgis and Isabel Kelly. And then moving into the halves, and this is one of the keys for this contest, Kira Dibb and Rachel Pearson are the halves pairing for New South Wales. And Emma Tonagato, no, is not a Dalian player of the year, no, but she was a co-winner of female NRLW player of the year as well. And then moving into the forward pack for New South Wales, Semaima Tolfa and Millie Boyle are the bookends. And Millie Boyle was also the other co-winner of the NRLW player of the year. And Keely Davis is the hooker. And then moving into the back row, captain Kezi Apps. Shaylee Bent makes a return to the Origin Arena after missing last year. And Hannah Southwell locked for the New South Wales. And coming off the bench, Quincy Dodd, Sarah Togatuki, Caitlin Johnston, and Olivia Kernick. And Sam Brenner has been named as 18th woman for the New South Wales Sky Blues. And then for the Queensland side, Tamika Upton is the fullback. Watch out. Emily Bass and Julia Robinson are the winger combination. And then the center combination is Avania Paliti and Shania Chelsolka. And then the halves pairing is Taryn Aiken and, gee whiz, maybe the greatest of all, Ali Brigginshaw, is captain and halfback for the Queensland side. Moving into the forward pack now, Chelsea Lenardazi and Shannon Maito are the props for Queensland. And then Brittany Brealey Nati makes a return to Origin herself after missing last year. And then in the back row, Talisha Harden, Tasman Gray, and Destiny Brill. Destiny Brill is a Gold Stars premiership winning player. So you go get him. And hasn't she made an impact in about a year? Fair dinkum. Coming off the bench, Lauren Brown, Jessica Elliston, Stephanie Hancock, and Tiana Rathstrand-Smith rounds out the 17 with Zahara Tamara in a jersey number 18. Now, I just want to talk about some of the stalwarts for both of these sides. So first of all, Isabel Kelly You've also got Samaima Talfa and Kezi Apps. They are three ladies since the Women's State of Origin has gone down, ever since its inception. Those three ladies, Apps, sorry, not Clydesdale, Apps, Kelly, and Talfa, they have played in every single State of Origin game for New South Wales. So there's a key call to New South Wales pack. But the other lady that I want to make mention of is down here, and her name is Corbin Baxter. And Corbin Baxter, she has played in every single State of Origin game as well, and she has been named in jersey number 22. And I don't see a way how she could force herself into the squad unless if Miss Clydesdale, Yasmin Clydesdale, I don't know, is just not preferenced. I don't see a way that she could get in, especially with Tiana Penatani being as good as what she is and earning her spot in this side. So, look, even though she is not going to, it looks like she's not going to be playing, someone with the experience like Corbin Baxter does have, it's second to none, and I'm sure she's going to be a massive help, and she has been a massive help for the New South Wales Sky Blues. And then shifting over to some stalwarts for Queensland, Ali Brigginshaw has been there since the first game in 2016. And you've also got Brittany Brearley. She missed last year, but she makes a return to State of Origin, and last year was her only game of State of Origin that she missed. But Tasman Gray, she has been a part of every Queensland State of Origin team since 2016-17. And Stephanie Hancock, she missed last year as well. She makes a return. And Stephanie Hancock for the Gold Coast Titans this year was sensational. And she's sort of had a revitalization. She's had a revolution over the past year or so, maybe 8 months. She has been exceptional. She's been a fantastic leader for the Titans, and she is going to rip and tear this weekend. So the Queensland side, they've won the past two State of Origins in a row, but before that, it was all New South Wales. So I want to get a little bit more into the back line here. So Emma Tonagato, I think it's her first State of Origin match. She did play under 19s, but I think this is her debut. Yasmin Clydesdale, I think she's been in the Origin camp before. I'm sure she has. But what I really want to focus on is the halves pairing. Now, Kira Dibb has played State of Origin before, but she hasn't been in the arena since 2019. And Rachel Pearson does make her New South Wales State of Origin debut this Friday night. And they're going up against Taryn Aitken and arguably the greatest of all time, Ali Brigginshaw. And Taryn Aitken and Ali Brigginshaw, as I said just before, they won the series. They won the game for Queensland last year. So there is inexperience for the New South Wales side in the halves, and that's where I think the game could be won and lost, because Rachel Pearson, for me, she's an NRLW Dragons player. Rachel Pearson is a very skilled player. Her kicking game is arguably, or was arguably, the best in NRLW season 2022A. And Kira Dibb definitely was a very good player for the Newcastle Knights this season, even though they did finish on the bottom of the ladder. But Rachel Pearson, I think she's the key in all of this. I rate her very highly, and she does deserve her spot. But what's it going to be like for her? How's she going to handle the big time spotlight this Friday night against Ali Brigginshaw in the State of Origin arena? It's going to be massive. And also, while the halves pairing for New South Wales is less experienced compared to the halves pairing of Queensland, I do believe that the rest of the back line, 1 down to 5 for New South Wales, is better than Queensland and more experienced than Queensland. Tonagato versus Upton, Tamika Upton, is worth the price of admission alone. Tamika Upton is just a gun, is an absolute weapon. But even though you've got Chosolka, she's not inexperienced, but she's got a tough task ahead of her against either Jessica Sturgis or Isabel Kelly. And Ivania Paletti, she played for the Gold Coast Titans this year, and she was arguably their best player as well. So I give the edge 1 down to 5 to the New South Wales Sky Blues. It's obviously not going to be easy. I mean, we're talking state of origin, but I do think they just have they're just a little bit better in the back line. Where then it gets down to 6 and 7. I think Queensland then take it. And then this forward pack battle, ladies and gents, is absolutely enormous. Semaima Tolfa, she has played every single New South Wales Sky Blues game that's been since its inception. And she's going head-to-head with Chelsea Lenarduzzi, who I believe it was Lenarduzzi that had the controversial moment right at the end there, where a penalty was given and her integrity was coming to question. But you win at whatever cost, though, don't you? But Talfa versus Lenarduzzi, Brittany Brealey, a Queensland State of Origin veteran, comes back into the foray, and Keely Davis, she's got a couple of State of Origins under her belt, so that's a matchup. Kezi Apps, the captain for New South Wales, going up against Talisha Harden and or Tasman Gray, is going to be fantastic. But Hannah Southwell, she's a couple of years more experienced than Destiny Brill. And Destiny Brill, I've spoken about her a few times on this channel, but Destiny Brill has come from rugby union, and she has taken the Women's Rugby League by storm. I dare tend to suggest everything that she has touched has turned to gold. Literally, she was a part of Queensland last year. They won the game, and I think it was just about her first ever game of rugby league. And then she's won the premiership with the North Queensland Gold Stars this season. She had massive raps on her coming into NRLW, and she is living up to the promise. But she's going up against Hannah Southwell, and she is just someone that doesn't give a bugger about her body, and she's going to make sure to bash the holy hell out of you this Friday night. So I think this forward pack battle is so enticing. On the New South Wales side of things, Olivia Kernick was a part of the Eastern Suburbs NRLW Premiership team, and just on that quickly, it's obviously dominated this New South Wales side by Roosters and Dragons players, besides the odd Newcastle Knight player there or Parramatta Eel player here or there. It's definitely made up mostly of Roosters and Dragons. But Olivia Kernick, she did some really good things. She's got good wheels on her. She's got good pace on her for like an edge forward, or can be versatile enough to be a prop. But I think she'll definitely be used as a second rower for sure. So massive rap on Olivia Kernick, and she's someone that you should watch. And then Sarah Takatuki, she was the player of the game in the NRLW Grand Final. She gave a fantastic speech at the end, but she was unstoppable in that game. And the Dragons got out to an early lead, but under Sarah Takatuki, who has multiple Origin games under her belt, oh man, she is going to come off the bench and just wreak absolute havoc this weekend. And again, Stephanie Hancock, look, I'm not going to reveal the age of her, but she's been around a really, really long time, and she's arguably playing the best footy of her career. It's just outstanding. And Deanna Rafstrand-Smith, maybe she could consider herself unlucky not to be a starting prop, but she is still there again. She has been very good for years now. And look, you've got Karina Brown that's on the bench there, and for the Queensland side, Karina Brown. Maybe it is time just to give the young ones a go, and she's obviously copped that. And so that's great leadership, and she's obviously teaching them the ways. Romy Teitzel, I think maybe she could consider herself unlucky as well. She was the Newcastle Knights captain and North Queensland Gold Stars captain. So she could be a late inclusion. I don't think she will, though, but it's a great experience for her to be a part of the State of Origin game and the State of Origin camp. And just shifting over to New South Wales again, Tegan Berry, she is someone to watch for the future. She will play a starting role sometime next year or in the very soon future. Tegan Berry, for me, is one of the best players as far as the backline players go in all of women's rugby league. And I know that's a massive call because of how young she is, but I think every time I've seen her play, she has been outstanding, and she's been arguably the difference. I think she just, for such like a small-ish kind of body, she doesn't give a bugger about her own body either, and she just gets in there and smashes it. So that's just something that I really wanted to touch on about the reserves. So who do I think is going to win? I think New South Wales is going to win, and I think this will be yet another beauty. The average score line between these two sides is about 8 points. So it's usually a really close encounter, especially the past two where Queensland have won 24-18 and 8 points to 6. I think this is going to be another close game. It's going to be so cold in Canberra. That's going to give New South Wales more of an edge because these Queenslanders are going to come down here to Canberra, and they're already here, but fair dinkum, they would be freezing. They wouldn't know what hit them. So I'm going to go New South Wales Sky Blues to win this game 1-12. And depending on if like Bass is on Penatani or if Yasmin Clydesdale is on Bass, not saying that Bass is a weakness, but she is a young player, and I think if Penatani is on Bass, I'll go Tiana Penatani to score an anytime try, and I think the final scoreline will look like something maybe 22 points to 14. I'll go 22 points to 14. New South Wales Sky Blues on Friday night. I cannot wait to be there for this game, fair dinkum. Now, let's get into the real main event of the entire freaking weekend, guys. So, if you just excuse me, I will bring this up. So, this Sunday night from Optus Stadium in Perth, Western Australia, it's the New South Wales Blues hosting the Queensland Maroons, and the New South Wales Blues are $1.71 favourites to the Maroons, $2.15. And there are a lot of changes, especially with the New South Wales Blues. So starting at fullback is Captain James Tedesco, and the wingers are Brian To'o and Daniel Tupou. Matt Burton and Stephen Crichton are the centre combinations, and Luai and Cleary are the halves pairings for New South Wales. Payne Haas and Jake Trbojevic are the front rowers for New South Wales, and Apisai Coruscant is in there at hooker. The back row for New South Wales is Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, and Isaiah Yeo. And then the interchange bench for New South Wales is Damien Cook, Angus Crichton, Junior Paulo, and Sayasifa Talakai. And then the 18th man is Nico Hines. And then shifting over to the Queensland side, Kalen Ponga is at fullback, Selwyn Cobbo and Murray Taulagi are the wingers. Valentine Holmes and Dan Gagai are the centre combinations. Cameron Munster and DCE are the halves pairing. DCE obviously being the captain. The forward pack for the Queensland Maroons reads Lindsay Collins, Josh Papali'i, and Ben Hunt is the hooker. And then the back row is Kurt Capewell, Felice Kafusi, and the lock is Big Tino Fa'asuamala-Aui. And then the interchange bench reads Harry Grant, Jai Arrow, Patrick Carrigan, and Jeremiah Nanai. And the 18th man for Queensland is Tommy Dearden. Game number 1 for State of Origin was insane. The first 20 odd minutes, it didn't, whilst it was very, very quick, the quickest game of rugby league you've seen all year, it didn't feel like an Origin though, did it? And I'm not alone in saying that, and I share the same opinion as everyone else. But then I feel like, and this is a quote from somewhere else, but it's just how I felt at the time as well, I do think that the Maroons just out-Origin. They played better Origin footy than New South Wales did. And it wasn't until the final 10, maybe even 5 minutes, where New South Wales really did start to come alive. But in the end, I think it was just the Maroons' grit that really kept them up above water against the New South Wales Blues. And Ruben Cotter, Cowboy, He's a massive loss. He's a massive loss for Queensland. He absolutely got stuck in harder than maybe anybody did in game number one. So the big question in this game, and it's a lot of pressure on the young man, but it's Matt Burton, isn't it? He he is the key to this game, because either he's going to get caught out against Valentine Holmes, I think it is. Oh, who is Matt Burton lining up against? So if it was Stags on the right side, I think it's Valentine Holmes. I think Burton's up against Valentine Holmes, and therefore Murray Taulagi. Bugger, I can't remember. But in any event, look, we know the Burton bomb is going to come. Is he going to get it up above the roof of Optus Stadium? I'm willing to bet yes, he will. And if he's coming down on Murray Taulagi, who's had an exceptional season so far, Murray Taulagi, he got beaten in the air last week against Christian Tuipulotu in the Cowboys-Manly game. Not easily, but it was pretty smooth the way that young Tuipulotu jumped in front of him and came down with the ball. So Taulagi, if it's him that's on it, or if it's Cobbo, the young man that's got to go up against him, they're going to have a hell of a time, man. They're going to have a really crazy time. And Kalen Ponga for that fact as well. Moving into the forward pack now for New South Wales again, I do like the change of the hookers. Coruscant, he's gonna be with all due respect to Damien Cook, he's going to be a lot more creative than Mr. Cook in the opening period, in the opening stanza. Jake Trbojevic is going to be like a wolf that can smell blood. He's going to be absolutely terrifying to go head to head with. But I mean, Josh Papali'i and Lindsay Collins have no freaking fear. But Jake Trbojevic back in the Origin arena, man, he's going to be absolutely sensational to watch. I do question the interchange for New South Wales. Fittler's gone for Angus Crichton and Siosifa Talakai. Look, to be honest, and this is look, I don't mean to shout him out again, but Rugby League Guru did say Talakai has almost done nothing since that Anzac round game against the Manly Sea Eagles. That was round 7, and I sort of tend to agree. I definitely think he's had a game or two like it, but not anywhere near it. And to have a place maybe in front of, that's the thing too. I mean, yeah, it's a lean looking forward pack. They're all massive in their own right. Payne Haas and bloody Cameron Murray and Junior Paulo. I mean, they're all massive humans, but they're very lean. They're all sort of like a cut from the same cloth, aren't they? They're sort of like the perfect second rowers, aren't they? Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Angus Crichton could be edited out. I think Talakai is going to be in because he's going to provide just a spark of energy that I don't think anybody else will in this contest. I mean, that's not fair. Maybe not anyone else in the contest, but for New South Wales, I do think he will provide something. Even though it's a really strange, it's really weird to see Talakai in this squad. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's strange, and it's a lot. There's a bit of pressure on him. So Angus Crichton, I think maybe could be one that misses out. But I mean, you put Jordan McLean in, and Jordan McLean for the North Queensland Cowboys. I know people are giving him a bit of a rough go at the moment. You know, Jordan McLean is 30 years old, and what has he done to deserve it? And man, he has been great for North Queensland for about, I think maybe it took him maybe 2 or 3 weeks to really warm up into the season, but so did everybody else. And since that point, I don't think Jordan McLean has looked back, to be perfectly honest with you. So Jordan McLean deserves a spot in the squad. But would you swap over Crichton for McLean? Probably not. Victor Radley, though, I don't know. So, Yeah, I mean, it's a good bench. Both teams are incredibly strong, really impressive. But I don't know. It's just a weird looking bench to me, man. And then shifting over to the Queensland side, Pat Carrigan was almost man of the match from the bench. So when I said before that he could provide something, CSF Talakai could provide a spark that nobody else could, well, that was wrong because Pat Carrigan, um, my goodness gracious, and Jeremiah Nanai um, had a rip snorter of a game in his debut. Um, Kurt Capewell's playing. It's going to be just as even. I cannot wait to see how Murray Taulagi goes. I know that at certain stages throughout the NRL season this year, he has put on absolutely cutting hits on opposition attacks, um, stopping them in their tracks. And Taulagi could be in for a massive game. Valentine Holmes, arguably the centre, the most informed centre in the competition. In saying that, though, Stephen Crichton, he's having a banger of a 2022 himself. Look, I think I'm going to have to back New South Wales Blues, not because I'm a Blue supporter. I think there's a bit too much on the line, and maybe because looking at that interchange bench, um, maybe it is just weird enough that it might bloody work. And then you've got Matt Burton, who is going to be a point of difference in the kicking game. And not saying that Munster and Daly Cherry Evans can't put up nasty kicks as well that will go 15 stories high, but Matt Burton, man, he's another element. He's an X factor to this game, and if he is, he will be switched on. But if he does find the zone to really play the football that he can, and if he wants, gee whiz, it's going to be the difference in the end, isn't it? So I'll go New South Wales Blues to win. And I think I'll go for a scoreline. It'll be freaking close, guys. I'll go for a similar scoreline. I think I'll go 20-16 to the New South Wales Blues over there at Optus Stadium. And an anytime try scorer, I'm going to look at the forward pack. Maybe even the back row. And gee whiz, won't half of Manly explode? I'll go Api Coruscant. I nearly said Jake Travojevic, but I don't think he'll score. But I'll go Api Coruscant to be an anytime try scorer for the New South Wales Blues this weekend. Look, we have got more international rugby league coming up. We've got State of Origin in its bucket loads coming up for the rest of the weekend. It's rugby league heaven this weekend. And again, it kicked off last night with Lebanon versus Malta. And for a game that was 13th versus 15th, a game where these two countries really hadn't played a spotlight game for 3 years or close to 3 years, I actually really enjoyed the contest. A shame that the friggin' audio sounded like the dodo bird was attacking it. But Lebanon versus Malta was cool to watch, man. There's some wild tries, man, like lucky tries, but some wild tries, bro. But anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for giving this video a crack, guys. Hope you all have a very nice weekend and expect some more content from me very, very soon. Have a nice weekend, guys. Adios.